Dallas, you deserve to be in number 6. If you can put everything together for one game, let it be the Super Bowl. You might get a chance to win it. The Rams are my other team at number 6. And we've talked about them a lot in this show, too. I love everything I'm seeing from them. They deserve to be in that top 8. And I'm glad I put them there.
Yeah. Number 5 is going to be very contentious.
We might have the same one, because neither of us have said them yet.
No, it's not going to be the same one. That's why it's going to be contentious. The team is 2-2.
We might be the same one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, what division do they play in?
They're the New England Patriots.
Oh, no. I have them at number 4. Number 5 is a team from the NFC North. And maybe I'm doing this because I feel upset for my good friend Bobby Goodsby, and also because their stud running back, who I love to watch, is out for the season, and I feel bad. And they just lost to my number 8 team by 7 points. The Minnesota Vikings. I think if they had everyone together, if they had Sam Bradford healthy and Dalvin Cook healthy, their defense is phenomenal.
So Dalvin Cook is now out for the season with an ACL.
Yeah.
And Sam Bradford is still week to week.
Yeah.
Day to day even.
So I had them in my I had them even higher last week after I thought about it more, just because I just thought they were really good, and I thought they were a team that was going to be a sleeper. But now, since they're probably not going to be in the top 8 the rest of the season, I thought I'd give them their fair share here. Dalvin Cook, I really hope he doesn't turn into a case where injuries kind of take apart his career, because he already had one ACL reconstruction in college, and he was able to bounce back and still be the same guy. And hopefully that happens again. But he's second in the NFL in rushing, I do believe. And to see a rookie running back who can do the things that he does and just make the plays that he does behind, an offensive line that hasn't shown itself to be fantastic. And then with Stephon Diggs just showing himself to be a definite number 1 receiver in the NFL now, between Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen.
Thielen's led the entire NFL the last 14 weeks or something in receiving yards.
They already have 750 receiving yards between them in 4 games. And that's with, Case Keenum and Sam Bradford throwing them the ball, in Case Keenum throwing 61 of those passes. So, they had all the pieces there, and I think they just lost a huge piece. And sad for the Vikings. Because
at the beginning of the year, I thought this could have been their year to do something.
I know.
But now it's kind of coming to a bleak end. Hopefully they can figure something out. Maybe someone steps up,
Maybe Teddy comes back.
Let's be optimists.
Teddy comes back with a repaired knee, and he becomes the running back of the future.
All right. I have New England because I, for whatever reason, cannot fathom putting Tom Brady any lower than number 5. Yeah. Even with the 2-2 start, I still think that they're a lock for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And I think that's all that needs to be said.
No, yeah, and like I said, I have them at number 4. They lost to the team that all of us, you, me, and ESPN have at number 1, I'm sure, as the Chiefs. They lost by 15 in opening night game. Those things happen. They beat the Saints, the Saints have shown some life, by 16, and then they squeaked by the Texans, who just beat the Titans by a jillion points. And then they lost to the Panthers, who were 3-1 by 3. And yes, I agree. Tom Brady has shown himself. I believe he is the best quarterback of all time. I believe Gronkowski is the best tight end of all time. And then they have, their group of 4 wide receivers who.
Chris Hogan.
I
love that guy.
Although he dropped the pass.
That would have won me a week too, which is rough.
Somehow, they just put it all together, and their defense right now is struggling. But I think we all expect Bill Belichick to be able to patch together a defense. Even when they were in the bottom 5 in yards allowed, they would still go 11-5 or 12-4. So I think that goes into the equation. And somehow Danny Amendola, everyone keeps writing his career off, it seems like, and he continues to do his Julian Edelman impression. And now that Brandon Cooks is in the fold, it's just, you look at this team and what it could be, and I think you can excuse a 2-2 record in the beginning, because I think we all kind of expect them to be, 9-3 at some point this season. So
okay, number 4, I have Green Bay.
Okay,
Aaron Rodgers guy continues to just defy all odds.
Yeah,
I'll say he's the best quarterback right now in the game. I agree with you. Tom Brady's probably the best of all time, but Aaron Rodgers right now, his star running back goes down, who's not even a running back in the first place, and he puts together just an incredible game. I really like Green Bay, and I just picked up Randall Cobb from an unwitting person in my league who might be listening right now for Gillislee of the New England Patriots, who might not have a huge year. But
So you had both the Packers and the Cowboys in your top 8, and I had neither. I had
you don't even have the Packers up there at all?
I had the Packers number 9.
Well, ESPN had them number 2.
Well, I think ESPN is on something. I mean, they blew out the Bears, but it's the Bears. It's the Bears. They are going to be one of the top 3 worst teams in the league this year. And I agree. I think Aaron Rodgers has been the best quarterback in the NFL for the past 5+ years. And he's on his way to possibly becoming the best quarterback of all time if he plays this way for another, 6, 7, 8 years. But I don't believe really in anything else besides the combination of Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson. I think they've kind of got by. They got by in the first 3 games. Very, just kind of patched things together. They beat the Bengals, who obviously had a good game last week, but they beat them only by 3. And that is, they won at home. They've had 3 home games, only 1 game in the road, which is the 1 game they lost. The Seahawks have not looked great. They were able to beat them, but I don't know. I don't believe in enough of the rest of the team to put them on top 8. And I think I'll probably put whoever wins that Cowboys-Packers game, especially if they win convincingly, in the top 8. But with Davante Adams, and hopefully he's okay, because that was
I did want to talk a little bit about that.
Vicious hit.
Fair suspension.
I'm kind of upset that they.
You ready for Fletcher Justice?
Yeah.
What I wanted. He's out as long as Adams is out.
Okay. No,
and there needed to be a fine slapped on it because that was a dirty hit. That was by the rule the one thing you can't do.
See, one thing I don't like about the NFL is they adjudicate. That's my fancy word of the week.
Nice.
They adjudicate on history. In the fact that Danny Trevathan has not had a huge history of having terrible, dirty hits like Vontaze Burfict has. I mean, Vontaze Burfict, am I remembering correctly? They suspended him for 5 games for the preseason hit, which is nowhere near the. Hold on. Well, people. I mean, Vontaze Burfict obviously has a very bad reputation, and it's well earned. He is dirty, but if that was Vontaze Burfict hitting Davante Adams, he would be out for 8 games. I mean, it seems like the NFL cannot do anything right when it comes to punishment. And I think 2 games was, like you said, I don't think you can say, oh, well, as long as he's out, because then that brings into,
I'm not saying it was realistic.
Yeah.
That would have been Fletcher.
For sure.
If I'm commissioner, if I'm Roger Goodell, that is my punishment.
I endorse your commissioner bid.
Fletcher punishment. Fletcher justice.
Yeah, I'll get Jamie to work on some flyers and we'll pass her out around San Luis Obispo. I would have given him 3 or 4 games for sure, because that was.
Would you have slapped a fine?
It was malicious. It was.
He was already wrapped up. He was going down,
and he made no attempt to evade his helmet. I mean,
right.
It wasn't like the play where you put your helmet down and you think you're going into his chest. His helmet was right there. You decided to keep lowering it, and his head was sticking like just straight out, and there's nothing to support it. There was no it was not partially on his body. It was all craning right in his neck and his head, and it was one of those hits where you just like, God, I hope this does not turn into something where he's like paralyzed.
Yeah, and it could have been that looked bad. Like it could have.
Yeah.
Anyways, not to just gloss over that.
Yeah.
Number 3, I got Pittsburgh.
Number 3, I had a team that played last night that lost. I have the Washington Redskins.
I do think that Kirk Cousins looks absolutely fantastic this year.
And I've been a huge Kirk Cousins hater, so it pains me, the past Alex, to be wrong on this. But he has looked awesome. And, he's helped out by the fact that, a lot of the offense is, the screenplays, and he has a very good screen play doer, if that's the best way to say it.
Asset, maybe.
And Chris Thompson. But I think Josh Doxson, even though he did drop that ball in the end zone, I think he is going to become a very good wide receiver for this team. Kirk Cousins, you can't, once you have 3 straight years of completing 2/3 of your passes, which 2015, almost 70%, 2016, 67%, and so far this year, over 66%. 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. That was the main thing early in his career. He's throwing in a lot of interceptions. He was not taking the care of the ball very well, and he's really fixed that. So there's not really much more you can complain about with Kirk Cousins' game. He's bet on himself, and he has done a great job of proving himself to be a good businessman because he's going to get paid this
without
offseason.
Deshaun Jackson, without Pierre Garçon, and he looks great. And Jamison Crowder not doing much for him.
Yep.
Like, it's pretty impressive to see what Kirk Cousins is doing with limited help. Number 2, I got Philly. I love Philly. I love Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
They're
Carson Wentz.
fun to watch, man. And they're 3-1. They look great. That's all I got to say about that.
Wait, that was your 3 or your 2?
2.
Who was your 3?
My 3 was Pittsburgh. We just sort of...
Yeah, okay, we glossed over him.
Well, I think a lot of people had Pittsburgh 3.
I'm surprised you don't have this team in your top 8, which is the team I have at number 2. Although, I guess you could if you just somehow omitted the Chiefs. Number 2, I have the Denver Broncos.
See, I was going to put them in, but I don't see offense enough. I do love their defense.
No, and I agree. And I agree their offense is nothing to
I can't buy into Simeon.
Their defense is so gosh darn good that it makes up for any inadequacies that Trevor Simeon has. I mean, they just beat 2 of the top, what we thought were going to be 2 of the top offenses, and maybe we'll turn out to be wrong at the end of the season. But they limited the Cowboys to 17 points, and they limited the Raiders, and obviously Carr was out for part of the game. I just have to add that in there. They held them to 10 points. I don't think they're going to be averaging 25 points a game, but I don't think they're going to need to. I think if they continue to win games with their absolutely dominant defense, the thing that is most remarkable about the Broncos is they seem to lose a big piece of their defense every summer, I guess, or spring. And they just replace it with a guy they drafted who, was kind of a bit player before and is now an awesome player. And I feel guys with like Derek Wolfe, Brandon Marshall's been, good for a while now. But guys like that where they just like, okay, well, they lost this guy to free agency. Who's going to step up? And he just immediately steps up. And obviously it helps when you have Von Miller and Chris Harris Jr. in there and Aqib Talib. But besides, it's not like they have a perennial defensive player of the year candidate besides Von Miller, which obviously, like I said, Von Miller helps. But
that guy's incredible.
It's not like J.J. Watt is on, is wrecking havoc on the defensive line.
I love a simile, almost a metaphor of Von Miller being a squatter in the backfield of an apartment complex. He is always back there, and it doesn't matter who they're playing. Von Miller is fun to watch, and if I had to redo my top 8 in less than 2 minutes, which I had for this one,
wow,
I would say Denver's probably up there.
Yeah,
not as high as you had him, just because of lack of offense, but.
And also, I'm happy, even though he's played for really my 2 top rivals, being a Raiders fan. I'm happy to see Jamal Charles back and playing well. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry. He's not their main back, but he's spelling C.J. Anderson a lot. And Jamal Charles is one of those running backs that you just enjoy watching because of the way he plays, like the burst he has, the power. And so I'm glad to see he came back from what definitely could have been a career-ending knee injury and is now playing for the Broncos.
Numero uno, no surprises here. Kansas City Chiefs. I've had them number 1 each week. I really like Alex Smith, man.
Which is strange to say. Like, it just kind of feels weird.
It feels super, especially because as a Niners fan, I didn't like Alex Smith for the longest time. I was ready to turn the leaf over, try something out. But now looking at him and Andy Reid's system, him and Andy Reid just click.
He has no interceptions. 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's completing over 3/4 of his passes.
And it's not like it's a typical Alex Smith year where he's just kind of checking down, throwing little passes. He's throwing deep to Kelsey. He's throwing deep to Hill, and he still has 0 interceptions. And it helps that those 2 guys get the ball. But
look, I'm gonna say this now, and if this comes back to bite me at some point, you can play it over. Like I continue to bring up the fact that you have the Dodgers win the World Series.
Stop it.
But Andy Reid is a genius of a coach.
I agree, 100%. I think over 40 right now, he's the most creative coach in the game.
Yeah.
I'm saying that over 40 because I think the Rams have a guy who's pretty dang creative.
Yeah. He is the guy who gets the most out of whatever guys he has on his team. When he was with the Eagles, he did whatever he needed to do to make sure his team won. He turned Brian Westbrook. I mean, Brian Westbrook is probably going to be a good player anyways, but he turned him into a superstar. And when Terrell Owens came to town, they allowed him to be the number 1 guy. And even when they had, they had really no receiving talent, they would they would be in the playoffs every single year. I think they made 5 straight NFC Championship games, something like that. And now, he